So what we're going to talk about over the next 4 weeks is 4 high performance thinking patterns. And the reason I'm doing this, I've never done this with our marketing group or our with our business clients too much, other than our mastermind groups. And now is the time. Now is the time to work with you guys on mental skills. Just a brief background as to, I thought you were the marketing coach. Yeah, you're right, I am actually. But before I did marketing, I was, well before, I was a professional sports person, and I was a mental skills coach for professional sports teams and business teams. And that's what I did before I did marketing. And that's why when I come into doing the marketing, there's a lot of stuff which is quite psychological. Marketing is psychological, but I've got a real passion for psychology, particularly high performance psychology, and that kind of gets blended into the marketing that I do. So we're going to talk just purely about thinking, because the ironic thing is all of us have a brain, and yet no instruction manual came with it, right? And because of that, we tend to operate this brain of ours, or sometimes we do it really well and sometimes we do it really poorly. And particularly when you get into a crisis situation, then it kind of stress tests how good your thinking really is. And it's important that you have systems and processes that can control your thinking and keep you as effective as you can. And I call them high performance thinking. So I'm not, okay, let's just get onto it. Right. Does anyone know who this guy is in the middle of the picture there? The guy walking calmly while everyone's celebrating. I'm just going to have a look at the questions window now, but most of the, if you're from America, you probably wouldn't know who he was. But I'm going to say, no, not Brad Pitt. George Buchanan says Khan, and he's dead right. I wonder where George is from. Yeah, so I know where you're from if you can answer this question. Victoria Reed, Adrian Ramsey, Imran. Yeah, this guy is Imran Khan. So all you guys are based out of the US. George is in Glasgow, Scotland. Thank you, George. Right, I used to live in Paisley, actually, George. This guy is Imran Khan. Now, in the 90s and late 80s, he was, well, who is he now? What is his job now? What is his job now? Does anyone know what his job now is? Correct. He is the prime minister, or he's the prime minister or the president of Pakistan. All right. I think he's the prime minister of Pakistan. He is the prime minister, right? But he was a cricketer. He was a professional cricketer, and he was the captain of Pakistan. And when I was young, I was probably about 20 or 20, I think it probably was. My dream was to play professional cricket. And I had been playing, it's called club cricket below that. And I'd been playing club cricket. And there was a touring team. Pakistan was touring. The great Imran Khan was touring, and he wasn't the only great one on his team. He had Wasim Akram and Javed Miandad and all these incredible superstars of international cricket. And my local professional team was called the Canterbury team, and Canterbury was going to play against Pakistan. And there was an injury to the key player, New Zealand's best player, and I got called in as a replacement. And this was going to be my first ever, I'm going to call it professional game, because that would be the term Americans would know, but it's a first class game. And it would be my first ever professional game. And it was going to be playing against Imran Khan and the great Pakistan team, who were just unbelievable. And initially it excited me. And then when I went to bed, I panicked and I just kept thinking, oh my God, what am I doing? Playing against Imran Khan and all the other great players, and what's going to happen when I bat, and what's going to happen when I bowl? I mean, they bowl so fast. You can have bones broken and all sorts of stuff, and they can aim to hit you in the head. That's quite legal. Am I going to be humiliated? If I play in this game and do poorly, this could be the worst. This could be the end of my professional career. And I remember in the morning thinking, have I had 1 minute sleep tonight? I don't think I've slept for a minute. I woke up in the morning completely fried, in no state to play any game of sport, let alone my first professional sports game. I went to the game, and the guy that I'd replaced, who was a far better player than me, his name was Richard Hadley. So for those of you who do know cricket will know he was a guy that could handle. He actually declared himself fit, and I didn't play. Well, thank goodness for that, because I was in no position to play. So my mind, I had no systems for controlling my thinking. I had no structure, I had no organization, and I was completely wrecked. The stress test had worked, and I had failed. And this is kind of what I want to talk about today. Is I want to talk about giving you a system that might be very useful in these times, but actually I think you'll find it very useful for any times. And it doesn't matter whether you're an architect or an accountant or anything else. You could be a student, you could be a sports person, you could be just someone trying to live a highly productive life. You will see the value in this pattern I'm going to show you today. So I kind of put together 6 high performance thinking patterns. This is one of them. Okay, have you ever said I can put my mind to it? Well, I can do anything if I put my mind to it. You probably have. The problem is, how specifically do you put your mind to it? Now, I know that you are capable of great things because you've done great things. You wouldn't even be here if you weren't. But I also know you're capable of doing things equally as stupid as I am. I know you're capable of cracking under pressure, and I know you're capable of panicking. So the question is, how do we run our mind so that it works for us? In general, I think you need 3 things, right? And you need all 3 things to be successful in any area. You need the right mindset, you need the right strategy, and you need the right action. If you don't have the right strategy, but you have the right mindset and action, it's all very well just being motivated, but it's not enough. You do need the right strategy. So, you know, you're in danger of taking a gun to a knife fight if you don't have the right strategy. Likewise, you could have the right strategy and the right action, but if you don't have the right mindset, and that's the bit we're going to focus on today, there was a saying we had in cricket when a player would turn up on the field and he looked good, he had all the right moves, but then when he went to perform, he didn't. He had all the gear, no idea. And it's actually, speaking of the, it was in Darwin and Lancashire that the team would kind of sledge the opposition with that line. Finally, if you have no action, I don't know how you could have no action if you had the right mindset, because they kind of go together. So if you're not having the action, it's probably because you don't have the mindset. So is a good little one for that. All right. So top performers have all those 3 aspects. They have a lot of action, massive amounts of action. They have the right strategy, but the thing is, those 2 are usually easy to see, and those 2 are usually easy to model. What most people don't have, that the top performers have, is they have the right mindset. And so important. And people like Ali, look, Ali didn't think like the average person, right? He trained himself to think differently. And when I look at top performers in any field, they all they spend a lot of time talking about how they think and how they use their mind. And I won't go through each of these, but you know, all these people, there's Madonna, right? They all talk about how they use their mind. It's massively important. So if you've got the tools, if you've got the action, and you've got the strategy, 90% of your success is going to come down to how you train yourself to think. And I use the word train yourself to think. Okay, humans think in patterns. Some patterns are more effective than others. If you model the thinking patterns of top performers, you perform exponentially better.